The British Grand Prix already wasn't the best race of the season, but seeing the race finish under yellow made the race even more underwhelming. Funny enough, it was Lewis Hamilton again who picked the shortest straw with the outcome of the safety car procedure. This is what you get after the drama that followed after Abu Dhabi 2021. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. During the British Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc was firmly in the lead, and due to reliability issues on Kimi Antonelli's car, Lewis Hamilton was second. Max Verstappen, who wasn't happy with his car's setup all weekend, had managed to get himself into third place, albeit due to a slow puncture on Russell's car and Antonelli's issues, but suffered a problem with his Macarena wing and crashed 5 laps before the finish. The safety car was deployed to get the RB22 out of the gravel. Over 500,000 people attended the Grand Prix weekend at Silverstone, and on the race day there were about 170,000 fans present. Seeing as Lewis Hamilton still had a shot at winning the race, everyone wanted the race to resume. Ferrari pitted both their drivers, but Lewis Hamilton was overtaken during that pit stop by George Russell, who didn't pit. He was going to do the restart on all tyres. This all took a few laps. The cars that were a lap down were asked to overtake the safety car, and then the sign that the safety car was returning to the pits was shown. Everyone braced themselves for a last lap shootout. An opportunity for Lewis Hamilton to win the British Grand Prix for a whopping 10th time. But then, when the final lap started, the safety car stayed out, and the race finished neutralized, and the order stayed the same. What happened was that the regulations state that a full lap must be done after the back markers were cleared, and the safety car returning to the pit sign was a glitch in the software. Other people believe Penalty John and Hans the Track Limit were behind it. In any case, the crowd didn't like it, and they booed when they found out the race would finish under yellow conditions. Lewis Hamilton was unlucky with the outcome of the safety car again. As always with these kinds of situations, thoughts went back to Abu Dhabi 2021, where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen did a last lap shootout for the title. The reaction to the events of the British Grand Prix of 2026 was that the race director could have done more to ensure a finish under green conditions. The rules state that race control can call a red flag at the end of a race to allow more laps of racing, and a lot of commentators and pundits were making up creative new ideas to speed up the process of letting lapped cars on lap. For instance, letting them draw back instead of overtaking the safety car. An F1 outlet like Motorsport asked the question, should the British GP ending cause a change in the F1 safety car rules? Now, to be fair, most of the writers of that article stated that the rules were followed at the British Grand Prix, and only the software glitch caused a problem. They opted to keep the back markers where they are to start the race again, and none of them liked the idea of the red flag scenario, as it makes the whole race before the new start irrelevant. Toto Wolff stated that it was good that the rules had been followed, as should have happened in Abu Dhabi in 2021. It's quite obvious he would say that. It's also a lot easier when there's only a race win at stake. By the way, his driver, Russell, would have probably dropped to P5 on his old tyres hadn't it been for the finish on the yellow. Sky Sports commentator Martin Brundle came up with 3 ways to improve the safety car procedure. So it's quite obvious he didn't like the outcome at Silverstone. He didn't like the outcome in Abu Dhabi either. His idea is to have lapped cars overtake at much faster speeds, or let them drop back, or throw a red flag. All this to ensure that cars that weren't good enough on the day would not mess up the race. As you can tell, there's quite a bit of duality in the statements of the different people involved. It's almost like they have a view that suits the occasion. In 8021, the rules should have been followed, and the race should have finished on the yellow. And in Britain, they should have sped up the process to ensure an exciting finish for the fans. My view is as follows. There is an article in the FIA rulebook that allows the race director to basically do what is necessary as long as it's safe. FIA Article 15.3 is the section of the FIA Formula 1 sporting regulations that establishes the race director's overriding authority over the clerk of the course regarding key race management decisions, most notably the use and control of the safety car. When Mercedes protested after Abu Dhabi 2021, this was one of the pillars of the case to defend the finish of the race under green conditions rested on. That all the teams agreed that races should always be finished under green conditions. Now, the reason Mercedes and the whole British media protested was, besides Hamilton not winning an A title, that there was no way to predict the outcome of a late safety car, and it was unfair that the driver who's behind could benefit from pitting. I would argue that Mercedes' game plan for that race was to maintain track position at all costs. So even if there were 5 laps left, they'd still not have pitted Hamilton. But that's not relevant now. The main issue was that there was no way to get consistency in situations like that, therefore making a strategy call impossible. You could see this in England as well. Lewis Hamilton was pitted and then the race didn't restart. Hamilton had lost his second place to George Russell, who did nothing all race and finished P2. My solution would be for the race director to be protected and not scapegoated like Masi, to use Article 15.3 at his own discretion to ensure a finish under green conditions. If all the teams know that race control will always get it done, they can handle the strategy accordingly. So send the safety car in after half a lap after the back markers have passed. If there's not enough time to let the back markers pass, let them drop back. If the, say, top 5 is in the right order, let the race restart with back markers in place. The podium positions are the most important anyway. To me, that's what overriding authority means. The power to override the paperwork to make sure the thing the sport is all about gets done. Namely, motor racing. Yes, we went car racing in Abu Dhabi, but we didn't at Silverstone. Both times people were unhappy. But nobody will forget that last lap in 2021. It was historic. And since racing is the sport, racing is what should always happen. This is, of course, also a debate. I like to read Oliver Harden's articles. He writes for Planet F1. You can find him on Twitter, and that's where we debate sometimes. Now, he states that the rules must be followed at all costs, and that the sport comes second. He was happy that the rules were followed at the British Grand Prix. The first thing I wondered was, would he say that if there was a championship on the line? Let's say this happened in the last race and Hamilton needed to beat Russell for the title and the race finished under yellow conditions. There was an uproar now, when it effectively only cost Hamilton a few points, but I'm pretty sure the whole British media would have wanted the rules changed if that was the outcome. Especially if the title battle was between Leclerc and Hamilton. Another thing I thought about was the statement that the rules must be abided by, and the sport comes second. The thing is that the sport has always come first. The rules always follow the sport. You need rules, otherwise teams would show up with cars with 6 wheels and an engine with nuclear power. So if the main goal is to see good racing, then neutralizing a race because of some confusing, weird, huge rulebook is not what we want. That's the tail wagging the dog. If Abu Dhabi was used as a precedent of a race director getting the power and the trust to make sure every race finishes under green conditions, then that would have made things clear in all the situations after that. Drivers could head into the pits knowing that the race director will get it done. Fans could sit on the edge of their seats to see a glorious finish, the thing they paid a fortune to see. Those fans spent their hard-earned money, endured rain, heat and hours of walking to see racing. That's the heart of the sport, not the massive rulebook. Don't be ridiculous. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the whole safety car finish. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. But be nice. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to see more. Take care now. Doei doei.